Are we clear? Right. So let's begin this journey of human resource management. Overview of HRM. That's a topic that we have lined up for you. First one. Okay. So I'm sure this freeze option after we need to Okay, here we go. So let me start in a different way by showing you a picture. What do you see here? I think I included that in the video. So you have a composer and musical instruments, but you don't have players. So without players, music cannot be performed. You might have the world-class composer or the world-class conductor, perhaps the best in town. And you might have the best instruments. Still the music cannot be performed because the power of players. So how do you draw parallel from this to a typical business organization? Who is this one? CEO, the leader, chairman, and what are those? I'm looking for a bigger word. Resources, that's what we learn in term 1. So we have physical, we have the land, building, equipment, computer, vehicles, we bundle them together in calling them physical resources. And they don't come from the sky, you need money, financial resources. And there's a wide array of rules, regulations, processes, procedures, practices. We bundle them together and we use the word information resources. So you have physical, financial, information, all those three resources are useless, meaningless if you don't have the most precious resource in any organization. That is you all, each and every one of you. That's a human resource, the only alive and vibrant resource that can take command and control over the other resources, isn't it? That's the preciousness of human resource. So there's no point having all the other resources. The cutting edge factor is people. That's why they say people drive business. It's not your product, it's not your service, it's people at the end of the day. Agreed? And rather sad to say, a lot of people have not recognized this fact. Even some leaders are underestimating the fact. Sometimes for them, people are a liability, not an asset. So why is that? It's a fundamental question mark. Have we recognized the value addition of people? Have you given the due prominence to HR? Is HR at the top or at the tap? These are some of the fundamental questions that we need to ask. So I picked one gentleman who had really appreciated HR, Sir Richard Branson of Virgin fame, isn't it? So he says something very interesting. Shall I read out while the words appear? Staff first, customers second, and shareholders third. Is something I really believe. I'm of the opinion that my employees should be given top priority. Therefore, it is necessary to create a friendly, supportive, non-hierarchical, family-like atmosphere in all my companies, and ambience in which people have fun and enjoy themselves. Who are from marketing background? So what is the typical marketing mantra that we always say? Customer first, customer first, customer first. He says staff first. Is this a contradiction or a confirmation? What do you think? How many of you think contradiction? Contradiction. Why?
Contradiction to the normal belief, right?
In a deeper sense. Let's take a simple example. Say you go to a bank and there's a teller in front of you. There's a teller counter. and the teller is angrily shouting at people, throwing back the documents. If that is the case, would the customers be happy? And why it happens? Obviously the teller is not happy. If the teller is not happy, can the teller satisfy the external customers? That's why in total quality management we use the term internal customers. If the internal customers are not happy, they can't in turn make the external customers happy. So the point is that staff first, customers second doesn't mean that customers are undervalued. It means that first you take care of the internal customer and they in turn take care of the external customer. In other words, it's a confirmation that customer focus has to be. Agree? And Richard Branson doesn't say, I guess, I assume, I speculate. He used a very strong word, isn't it? I believe. A deep internal conviction. I believe. I'm of the opinion that my employer should be given top priority. Now we necessary to create friendly, supportive, non-hierarchical, family-like culture. This non-hierarchy thing I take with a pinch of salt, because hierarchy, whether we like it or not, would remain. From the director to the driver, from the lokka to the sokka, the hierarchy will remain. I am sure in your organization there is a hierarchy. But within the hierarchy, you can work in a non-hierarchical manner. Agree? Say, I still remember when I was at Nestle, as the head of HR in the technical division. I was based in a factory in Pannada, and the marketing department was in Kalam, head office. So if I wanted to get something done from marketing, but with a hierarchical approach, I send a memo to my boss, Vice President Technical. He sends a memo to his colleague, Vice President Marketing. He sends it down to the Senior Manager Marketing, further down Manager Marketing, further down Brand Executive, and further down Brand Handler, and then it goes up and up and up, goes this way, this way, this way, comes down and down and down. It takes ages. That's it. So what is the non-hierarchical approach? I pick the phone and say, Machan, can you get this? So within the hierarchy, you can work as a network. That's the beauty of it. You work as a friendly, a family-like atmosphere. So the family is a very powerful concept, is it? To bind people together, to create that synergy that we looked into in OB. I remember when I was at Unilever, my first job after graduating from University of Morato, I was a plant engineer. We had a newsletter called Lever Paula. And then they changed it to Paulipuat, Family News. And that is the time where unions had a dispute with the management and they were boycotting it. And they said, no, it's not Paulipuat, it's Paulipak. And there were lots of disputes. And finally we agreed, and then they started contributing. It became a beautiful magazine of employee contribution. Family. So the concept of family is very powerful. At Nestle, the word Nestle means little nest. And if you look at the Nestle logo, you see the mother bird and two little birds. So that's a concept of family. So we created a newsletter called Kadal, nest, little nest, Kadal. So Kadal signifies the warmth, the affection, the caring aspects of family, which you need to have in a typical workplace. Again, I know the Middle Eastern realities, sometimes you have multinational workforce, and when you fly Emirates, they say we have a multinational cabin crew who speaks 20 languages, who come from 15 countries, so kind of, then it makes more easy or difficult? Difficult to have that family-like bondage. But my point is that 5 fingers are different, but still they are part of one hand. Difficult yet possible. An ambience in which people have fun and enjoy themselves. People have should Wi-Fi becomes fun and enjoy themselves. They say fun is fundamental for success, isn't it? If you don't enjoy what you do, there's something fundamental missing. That's why in some Western companies, they have started measuring laughs per hour. How many smiles per hour? Because if you don't enjoy, something is missing. And if you enjoy your work, your vocation becomes your vacation. In other words, you enjoy every bit of it. And the the common English phrase, if I am to adapt it to Middle Eastern holidays, weekend, it's Friday, Saturday, isn't it? So you will not say, thank God it's Thursday. You will say, thank God it's Sunday. The day that you start a productive week, isn't it? That's the whole spirit. Is this relevant to us in your Middle Eastern workplaces? Tell me honestly. What Richard Branson says, is it practically possible? Yes, that's a positive sign. So you have to make it the fun aspect, enjoying. And I really like when I go to Pizza Hut outlet, there's a bell. And they say if you are satisfied, ring the bell. And when you ring the bell, when you go out, everyone says, thank you. So that's a sign that someone rang a bell. That means that they enjoy what they do. And I had a huge challenge when I took over the head of HR position at Nestle. We had an aging workforce. Average age was like 45 plus, and predominantly male. Unlike our counterparts across the road, Brandix, they were more female-oriented sewing operations. We were predominantly male. So whenever someone retires, we organize a small function and felicitate the person who is retiring. So we have a small get together and we invite the retiring person to say a few words. Vachana Swalpeking, we invite. And the person comes forward and says, most of the time, now that I am retired, I can do the things that I love to do. Think about it. Now that I am retired, I can do the things that I love to do. Do you see any issue here? Any issue? So what is the issue? Sorry? They wait till their retirement to do the things that they love to do. How about then the things they do before they retire? Things they have to do, things they are asked to do, things they are supposed to do, things they are forced to do, not necessarily things they have to do. I remember going to the canteen, passing a colleague of mine who was in charge of the warehouse. He had a whiteboard in his room. And one day he has written a 3-digit number, 300. Second day it is 299. The day after it is 298. And I asked him, what is his number? He said, I have started a countdown to my retirement. See, that's the level of frustration people had. So we had to work very hard to change that. So what is the single most important key word in this whole thing? Fun, enjoyment, happiness. So there's a key thing called happiness factor. If people don't enjoy the work, there's something fundamentally missing. And as we mentioned in the OB, happy people become far more productive. Happiness results in productivity. And I remember I was a moderator of a public forum, CEO forum on HR. It is a breakfast forum. And one speaker was Mr. Preeti Javadan. At that time he was the chairman of Chemonex. And now he's in the board of directors of commercial bank. He said he went to Vienna on a business tour. He was invited by a dairy factory to visit the dairy factory. He was highly impressed by the very high standards that factory was maintaining. And at the end of a very successful factory tour, he asked from the factory people, why do you call your product Happy Cow? They said, our cows are happy. He said, how do you know? Because we look after them very well, we give them the best nutrition, we even attend to the health issues, and then we even occasionally hug them. So when the cows are happy, they produce high quality milk. And the high quality milk goes to the high quality production, and the product quality goes up. And he says, if they can take care of their cattle that much, how much effort they need to put into take care of their people. That's the point. And in Sri Lanka, in the Doromadala program, IT, by the way, do you all watch Doromadala? I appeared last week. If you have time, please, it's in the YouTube as well. And there's a separate clipping. I extracted my version and then put that as well. So, when I was in Doromadala, I mentioned this. And there was a lady sitting next to me. She was head of a government institution. And she said, Professor Mekane, Erate Pachu Sampathar Salagana, Mano Sampathar Wagi, Aperate Mano Sampathar Salagan, Pachu Sampathar. I don't know how far it is true, and I don't know how far it is relevant to Middle East. Just point of reflection. So the point is, we need to take care of people, and the people factor is extremely important. And if you do a Google search or a YouTube search, you can find the happiest person, and I think we share it, no? This Moni's Hotel. So it's a simple person with a simple spirit and simple job, but happiest. So the happiness factor, make people happy, creating that atmosphere where people enjoy what they do. And if you can have the opportunity to do what you love to do, do it. If you don't have that opportunity, then love the work you have to do. Simple as that. Okay? And Richard Branson has done that in his business enterprise. So it has aviation, hospitality, transportation. What is the latest business venture?
Space.
Taking people to space. And BBC coined the term world's first astronomer plus entrepreneur together. And he was such an adventurous person, he started going around the world in a hot balloon. And he almost killed himself and narrowly escaped. And he wrote a thick book, his autobiography, which has a controversial name. Anyone has read that? What is the name? Losing My Virginity. And I'm not going to talk about nitty-gritty of those things. I'm going to talk about his approach to people management, his approach towards people. That's what is important. Sounds good? So the point is that the starting point is that give necessary focus to people. Ensure that people are recognized, they are encouraged, they are motivated. So the logical link between OB and HR is what? OB tells you what to do, HR will tell you how to do. So what and how. So OB and HR is integrated, interconnected, intertwined. So that's why I enjoy doing those two modules. OB first, HR second. There's a logical link between them. Agree? So whatever we learnt in OB, the way to apply, the channel to apply is HRM. That's the professional available, that's a function available, that's a method available in a typical organization. That's the sequence that we do. Agree with me? Observations, suggestions, objections, bouquets and bringbacks, both are okay? Ask a question, at least you prove that you are still biologically awake and alert. Okay? So far so good? Right? Let's move on. HRM, the way we understood. This is the simplest description I came across among many other descriptions. Shall we read out just for fun? Policies and practices involved in carrying out the people or human resource aspect of a management position. The beauty of this is that it doesn't talk about a particular department, a particular section, a particular unit. It talks about a management position. So what does that mean? When you say a management position, every manager has a people management role to play. Every manager has a HR role to play. When I say every manager is a HR manager, HR people get little insecure. So I'm not using that term. Every manager is a people manager. And then how I have differentiated is HR professionals and people managers. So HR professionals become internal guides to other managers. So they become internal coaches. Agree with me? Because say you might have 2 to 3 HR people in a large organization, so they can't manage everyone. They can't get to know everyone. All what they can do is to strengthen their functional colleagues' HR know-how, HR competency, so that every functional manager does the people management role. That's the way. By the way, how many of you are fully into HR, professional into HR? We have one, only one. What is the organization? Okay. So we can draw her wealth of expertise as well. Anyone else? No? Do you like your HR departments? Or you think about their parents? More than that's a typical response I get, but you have to empathize with them more. Sometimes they are working under strict policy guidelines, certain restrictions and certain things, but still for all there are challenges, there are ways that we need. And a broader one could be, again Armstrong has expanded further. Shall we read out what Armstrong has to say? Strategic, integrated and coherent approach to the employment, development and well-being of the people working in organizations. So we did a very interesting exercise in Sri Lanka. It was organized by Institute of Personnel Management, where I am a council member. We had a think tank to develop HR definition of our own. We call it Sri Lankan HR definition. And for that matter, IPM got the ownership, saying it's IPM HR definition. And we have published it the way we see. It's a combination of what the Western world says and what they does and what they do not say. Shall we read out the broader one? A strategic and integrated approach in acquisition, development and engagement of talent. So the keyword is talent, using relevant tools within well-defined policies, practices and processes, in creating a conducive climate towards achieving organization excellence and societal well-being. The societal part is not there in the Western definitions. Societal part is missing. They only talk about organizational profitable growth. So my point is that in Middle East and in Asia in particular, we have a social responsibility. That's why we say corporate social responsibility, CSR. Because now they talk about triple bottom line, isn't it? So what are the triple bottom lines? Triple P's: profit, people and planet. We call it triple bottom line. Profit, people and planet. It's not profit alone anymore. People and planet. That's where the eco-friendliness, environmental consciousness, saving the planet, carbon neutral aspects, all those things. You need to read some of those new trends. So triple bottom line. It's profit, people and planet. 3 P's. So that's where societal well-being. You can't make. Welcome back after the break. May I suggest, shall we have a table discussion? Talk to your neighbor. What phase that you experience in your workplace with regard to human resource management? Is it PM, HRM or SHRM or in between? Talk to each other. Anyone who is neighborless, I think your neighbors will come. Please the others come, have a quick chat. Have a neighborly discussion. Okay, how was the discussion? I hope you all were discussing about this and not about other things. Okay, I would like few volunteers to share their status with regard to these three phases. Volunteers. Volunteers, please. Alright, we have one volunteer. This is something very good because in Sri Lanka, when we use the word volunteer, pin drop of silence. Some people look at the carpet as if volunteers are found in the carpet. Some people look at the ceiling as if volunteers could come down from the ceiling. So this is a very encouraging sign. In that sense, shall I give him a big round of applause? So first tell about little bit about your organization and then relate this to that.
Right. My organization is a government-related organization.
Yes.
So more or less, senior managers are
Yes.
the local or Arab.
Yeah. So it belongs to the UAE government.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the structure, we have number of so many units, various functions.
Okay.
So most of the units headed by the local or the Arab national,
Right.
or one or two some non-Arabs. But still
How many different nationalities?
It's about maybe 20-25.
25 nationalities.
So
Some
considerable
are
amount
friendly,
of-
some are not so friendly.
Yeah. Some are considerable.
Some are
amount
caring,
of-
some are cousin.
Yeah.
You get all sort of people.
Yeah.
So,
all kind of people.
yeah, so how do you look at this?
See, I reckon it's more towards people are motivated by salary. So than to the.
But
other
this
side.
is just a underlying assumption. Don't
Yeah.
get
No,
overly
yeah,
carried away
yeah.
by that also.
Yeah, it's more towards that because
Okay.
the thing is that when you come to the challenge and opportunity, so the most of what we can see, most of the opportunities gone for the locals or Arabs or the European nationals.
Now this salary part, again there's another complication. Now with regard to Middle Eastern salaries, now I remember my father came to Oman. He was a teacher. He was an English teacher in Sri Lanka. He came to Oman and he taught for about few years. That's how we built up our house. So again, salary is a motivator for everyone in that sense. I mean, people who come to Middle East, I mean, no one would say, I would come to Middle East to do some social work and I would volunteer to work without a salary and I'll help the Middle Eastern people to develop their economy. We don't do that, obviously. But my point is that look at from objective point of view, is it a loan or is it salary plus plus? This plus
Yeah.
plus. So in that sense, you still think more elements of this.
It's because as I mentioned before, there are so many nationalities,
Yeah.
so everyone is trying
Now
to.
again, the independent, isolated function. For example, at key decision-making discussions, is HR actively getting involved? Or are they more decision executors?
No, they are more decision executors. So the function and department directors are more powerful. So whatever their decision will be executed through the HR.
So in that sense, it's more personal.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are clear about it.
Yeah.
So what should they do to move from PM to HRM?
Trying to bring certain things, but
Again,
not
it's an
good.
interesting question.
Yeah.
Moving from here to here, key transition is system thinking, systemic view. Think as an overall system, not my compartment,
Yeah.
your compartment, not isolated ivory towers, system point of view. Shall I give a big hand? Second volunteer, I'll spare her to the end, HR professional, but for others. Second volunteer. Again, the Sri Lankan style, no? All right, here we have another volunteer. Yes, Ranil, tell us.
My company is NPS Energy, which is an oil and gas service
Yes.
provider for the last 30 plus years.
Mhm.
The reason we operate in 14 countries, 1,600 employees with 40 different nationalities. When I joined the company 9 years ago, we were at the personal management level because that is the first year basically where we started a proper consolidated conglomerate.
How many employees in Dubai?
We have 300 plus
Yeah.
together in the UAE.
Are they scattered or in one location?
3 different locations. So what we've seen at what I have seen at that time was we were more towards personal management, but over the years, as of now, we have probably reached the strategic human resource management level because what I found is at that level we only had one HR guy who was like personal.
So
director.
within 9 years, it has evolved.
It has evolved. We've seen the system. We have got a proper HR system in place where different people in charge of each country's HR function and a group of people who are overlooking that. And
Okay.
then we HR heads actively take part in decision making when we launch into new business ventures and going into countries and setting ourselves.
So the mindset at corporate level.
Mindset is at corporate
At
level.
top level, they think about people, they think about talent, they think about competence.
And also we allow the people to be very creative in our own
Okay.
service lines and we
And their ideas are recognized.
Exactly, and then even on the SOPs, we even sort of we reward them significant amounts if they come up with cost-saving
Okay.
exercises out of their
Innovative ideas.
Innovative ideas.
So that means more evidence of this in place. Shall I give a big hand? Third volunteer. Anyone? Anybody else want to go now? Third one. Again, the Sri Lankan style or Middle Eastern style? Volunteer. If not, I can pick some victims, but I prefer volunteers. Third volunteer. In the absence of any, we'll ask the HR professional for her to share her experience. Okay? She was telling me while having a cup of tea. Now you can share the story with everyone. Yes.
Okay, so I will sit and explain to you. Currently, I'm working for a company called Casio Middle East.
Okay.
It was established around 3 years ago. I was part of the establishing team. Unfortunately,
So that is a Casio.
Casio. Yes.
That is a Casio Japanese one.
Yes, correct.
Or
It's a
electronic
Japanese
one.
organization. I know it's well-known Japanese global organization. However, the Middle East operation I'm a part of it, and currently we are at the personal management level.
Okay.
The reason being, my main challenge is with the leadership team is to convince. They have no concept and idea of what is HRM, or they don't really bother about much about it. They just only sales-driven.
They are more number driven.
Number-driven.
It reminded me We had an Italian boss some time ago at Nestle. He was the least to bother about HR. He used to come and shout at the senior managers, where is my EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes and amortization. He was interested in that and only that. So people development went down the drain. The training investment was deferred. So this is the mindset I can understand. So some people, if they don't have that orientation, they think HR is a cost. HR is an expenditure. It's more a liability than an asset. So you had to work with people with that mindset.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's a constant battle that I am dealing every day to move forward from PM to the other levels, because in my career I have gone through all the
three
two other
stages
levels
in your previous employment.
organizations where I enjoyed the most, and still I am very connected emotionally with those companies.
Yeah.
However, my ideas or my suggestions are not able to execute in the current
I think that's a very
organization.
interesting scenario. What should she do? Others can give you ideas. See, there's the HR person who is willing to do something, contribute something, and the organization is still at the PM level. Shall we park that question for tomorrow?
Yeah.
There's an opportunity to talk about strategic contribution of HR. We'll take that question up. If you are willing to contribute to the organization, if the organization is not giving you proper support, what should you do? We'll take it up. So start thinking. For the time being, shall I give her a big hand? So my two simple observations. First, identify what level you are in, and then contribute wherever possible, however possible, to move up in the level where from one step in the ladder to the other step. If you are already at SHRM, still consolidate that, sustain it, and ensure that it happens continuously. Is the point clear? Right. So now let's move on in terms of strategic human resource management, what to do. It's a matter of 7 Gs. So this is my humble contribution to HR. I summarize HR into 7G framework, starting with goal. It covers strategic aspect of HR, strategic human resource management, aligning with vision, mission, values and key goals. That is the word goal. And then you have getting the right talent, getting the right people. So what are the two key terms typically we use in HR? RNS. What is RNS? Recruitment and selection. We'll talk about it in detail. Then we have give. Giving means what? What are the two words? C and B. Compensation and benefits. And then we have grow. Grow means T and D. What is T and D? Training and development. Then we have glue. Employee engagement. Glue. How to glue people. Engaging employees. Then we have glow. What is glow? Performance. Shining. People shine in showing their true colors. That's why we say glowing. Showing their real contribution. Glowing. And then we have one more G, which is guarding. Guarding means disciplining, ensuring they are properly practicing the values, they are within the policy framework, all those things are captured in guard. So this is simply 7 Gs to describe what HR is. Shall we say out loud just for practice? What is the starting point? What is the first G? Goal. And then the inner circle starts with give, grow, glue, glow. And the outer circle is guard. So let's do a quick tour around them today, and from tomorrow morning itself we'll get deeper into those 8G. Let's dig deeper from tomorrow morning onwards. For the time being, shall we have a quick round?